Okay, so that first video was pretty guitar oriented, but still most of our people are guitar, but I think that applies to in general, right? As far as dynamics, everybody on every instrument has to worry about dynamics. As far as talking about accenting the second and the fourth beat, the measure that would apply to all instruments, and even chopping, like fiddles have a way of getting that on the two and the four, and you can kind of create that on any instrument, except for bass, right? I don't know if we have any bass players, but if any of you have a bass, or you're even interested in being our class's bass player on some nights, let me know. I'll help you get started with that, because I don't think we have a bass player. Okay, so arrangements. Let's talk about arrangements. Okay, so here's a song. I'll send a text with it. 9-pound hammer. Maybe you couldn't see that. Maybe this will look a little bit better like that with something behind it. You can make a screenshot of that, or I'll send something. It's just G, C, and D, right? I'm using that song as an example, right? That's an 8-bar form, and you just repeat it, right? We keep repeating, as opposed to a song that might have a verse and chorus that we go back and forth between, right? We talked about this stuff in my last class. So this one's easier as far as arrangements and solos, right? So the way that would work is maybe we'd have 2 verses or so, go through that 8-bar section a few times with singing, and then maybe solos, right? So each person who's going to solo maybe goes through that 8-bar section once, okay, and everybody else plays quietly, right, and takes turns soloing. So there's many. So I want you to think of a song in that terms of that 8-bar, form, okay, in this particular song. What I focus on a lot in the last class, and I'm still going to focus on now, is people sometimes come from the world of playing folk songs and country songs, rock songs, whatever, and are looking at lyrics with the chord letters like on top of the lyrics, right? And that's perfectly fine. That's information that you didn't have before, right? But and you can learn to play songs like that, obviously. What I want to do is think of songs more in terms of measures, as chord changes in terms of measures, right? Like this one, 2 measures of G, 2 measures of C, measure of G, measure of D, 2 measures of G. You know what I mean? That's how I want you to think of songs and think of the lyrics as separately. Because let's say you align the chord changes with the lyric, and let's say the lyric is phrased differently, then so you're off beat, right? So we want to, every song we're going to look at in that way. And even in Rise Up Singing, if you checked out that book or the Bluegrass Real book, it's the same thing. It's written out in measures, right? I want you to think of these songs in terms of measures. That's probably the most important thing. If you don't think of things like that, the most important thing you could learn in this class, okay? What else are we talking about? Singing, okay? Sing a song. You bring in a song. We'll have to. Not everyone can bring in a song every week since we have so many people. But every other week, let's say, bring in some practice singing at home. I won't make you sing, right? You can bring in a song. Maybe someone else can sing it, or find an instrumental song you want to play, or something like that. Or don't play so, right? Remember, I said low pressure. But I'd encourage everybody to bring in a song every couple of weeks, right? We'll talk about that more important. We'll talk about that more next week. Let me play the song that I just showed you. I'll send also a picture of that, those chord changes, 9-pound hammer. So it's a G, C, G, D, G. And then I put those 7th chords in parentheses, which means you can switch to the G7, C7, or you can just down the chord you're already at, right? So if I go to those chords like